Okay, so good day everyone. So for today we are going to be talking about platelet disorders na. Okay, so we are done. We have already um, discussed po kung paano nabubuo or the process of the hemostasis. Now let's move forward po dun sa mga disorders na meron tayo. Okay, with this system. Yan. Okay, so platelet disorders can be classified into two. We have qualitative and quantitative. So, I know you know the difference na between quali and quanti. So, for today, we are only talking about qualitative muna. And on the following discussions, tsaka yung quanti naman and others pa. Okay? So, for our learning objectives, so, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to differentiate hemostatic disorders, qualitative versus quantitative. So, at the end of lesson 5 and 6, you will be able to do that. So, judge whether a hemostatic or disorder fall into qualitative or quantitative. Okay, and discuss the pathophysiology and the mechanisms involved in the following hemostatic disorders. Okay? So, before we head on that, let's first be familiar with the following terms. Okay, so we have petechiae. Petechiae is a purplish red pinpoint hemorrhagic spots on the skin. I know you're familiar with that one na. Purpura, this is the hemorrhage of blood into small areas of the skin, mucous membrane, and other tissues. A little bit bigger than your petechiae, that's your purpura. Hemarthrosis, if there is a leakage of blood into the joint cavities, arthrosis. Hematemesis, vomiting of blood. Hematoma, swelling or tumor in the tissues or body cavity that contains clotted blood, a little bigger than your purpura and petechiae. Hematuria, RBC in your urine. Hemoglobinuria, hemoglobin in urine, alam niyo na yan. Hemoptysis, expectoration of blood secondary to hemorrhage in the larynx, trachea, bronchi, or lungs. Hematochezia, blood in the stool. Ecchymosis, a form of purpura in which blood escapes into large areas of skin and mucous membranes but not in deep tissues. Epistaxis, nosebleed. Melena, stool containing dark red or black blood. Menorrhagia, excessive menstrual bleeding. Okay? So, be familiar with these terms. Okay, so saan po sila papasok? Papasok sila sa manifestations of these disorders. Okay, commonly, sa mga disorders na i-discuss natin, palagi nandyan yung ecchymosis, epistaxis, menorrhagia, okay, hematoma, yan, and bleeding, okay, in different parts. Okay, yung sa gums also, bleeding within the gums. Okay, ayan. So, hindi ko na pinpoint which or specific manifestation ang meron sa bawat isang disease. Okay, if you wanna read on that, you can find it on Rodax chapter chapter 37, that's page 675. Ayan. So you can read on that para sa more deeper explanations about diseases. So ang i-focus lang natin dito yung kailangan nyo talagang tandaan, specific characteristics nila, how would you differentiate it with one another. Ayan. Okay? Okay. So, to proceed, to start, okay, this is the summary of all the qualitative platelet disorders that we have. Okay? So, it all boils down to the specific part of the platelet na affected. Okay? So, here, we have for example, on this part, affected is the dense body. We have this following diseases. Affected here, no aggregation with natural agonist. Ito yung disease. Okay, yan. Okay, so if you need to sum it up, ito na yung lahat. Okay? Yan. So we have deficiency or disorder involving the cytoskeleton. So you have your giant platelet Wiskott-Aldrich. Deficiency in enzymes. Okay, if you have a deficiency of the following, ito, you will have a platelet disorders, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the summary. Okay, so let's proceed firstly sa disorders of platelet aggregation. Okay, Yan. So, we can classify yung ating diseases based sa function na affected. Okay, so di ba we have three. We have platelet adhesion, platelet aggregation, and platelet secretion. Okay, so first is platelet aggregation. Okay, so specifically the glycoprotein 2B3A function. So we know ang responsible for the aggregation is we have the glycoprotein 2B3A. Okay, so ang disease under this category, we have si Glanzmann thrombasthenia. Okay? So, in 1918, we have Edward Glanzmann here, which is a Swiss pediatrician, who described a group of patients with hemorrhagic symptoms and a defect on platelet function. Okay? So, he described it as having weak platelets or thrombasthenia. Okay? So, yeah. So, in the mid-90s, 1970, Norden and Kane, Phillips and colleagues, tsaka lang nila na-discover the specific cause of the thrombasthenia is the deficiency ng 2B and 3A glycoproteins. Yeah. So, Glanzmann thrombasthenia is an autosomal recessive disorder seen most frequently in populations with high degree of consanguinity. Hindi ko lang tama pronunciation ko. Meaning, iisa yung pool of genes, okay? Or maliit lang yung pool of genes. Commonly, sa mga makikita mo kapag may nangyaring incest, ayan, same kasi yung pool gene na pinanggalingan. Okay? So, that's what you mean by that term. Okay? So, deficiency or abnormality of the platelet membrane glycoprotein 2B3A, or we can also call it the integrin alpha 2B beta 3 complex. Okay. Sorry, ang liit pala ng the font. Okay. So this is a membrane receptor capable of binding fibrinogen, von Willebrand factor, fibronectin, and other adhesive ligands. As we know, na responsible for the aggregation. Okay. Okay. Yan. So, since this is an autosomal recessive, okay, it can be passed on, or you can have it heterozygotes or homozygotes. Sorry sa pusa. Yan. Usually, yung mga heterozygotes na patients, okay, they have up to 50% to 60% normal function. Okay? Pero if you are a homozygote, okay, you lack the surface expression ng glycoprotein 2B3A. Okay? Yung homozygotes natin can be divided into two types. You have type 1 and type 2. Okay, if you have type 1, you have 10 to 20% normal glycoprotein expression. Okay, whereas in type 2 is this is baliktad to. This is type 2, this is type 1. Type 1 yung mas severe, Type 1 yung mas severe, 0 to 5% yung normal glycoprotein present niya, 0 to 5% lang. Si type 2, you can have as much as 20% normal glycoprotein pa. Okay, na tubig. Okay. Genetic mutation typically involves the ITGA2B and ITGB3 gene located in your chromosome 17. Okay, so what happens is wala ka ngang glycoprotein 2B3A. Okay, so your glycoprotein 2B3A, as we know, it acts as an receptor po para pagkapitan ng fibrinogen, ng von Willebrand factor, para may pagkapitan yung other platelets. Okay, kaya ka nga mag-aggregate. Okay, for the purpose of platelet aggregation. Okay, So, what can we expect if you have Glanzmann thrombasthenia? Okay, laboratory features natin. Okay, so since this is a qualitative disorder, okay, you can expect to see a normal platelet count, normal din ang morphology. Okay, so normal siya in quantity, normal din ang morphology. Okay, so ang abnormal natin, we have the abnormal clot retraction. Okay, so you have abnormal clot retraction, abnormal platelet aggregation to ADP, collagen, thrombin, and epinephrine. However, normal platelet aggregation to restositin. Okay, so remember that. That's how you can differentiate Glanzmann thrombasthenia from the other disease later on. Okay, so si ADP, collagen, and thrombin, if you remember, itong mga to, okay, they are naturally present in your body. Okay, so this is diba si ADP, as I have told you, this is the main aggregating agent in vivo. Okay, collagen naturally there under the vascular tissues. Thrombin also initiates aggregation as we have described. We also have epinephrine, which you can find inside your granules. Etong mga to, okay, once they are released in your system, they initiate aggregation. Okay, so ito mga to in vivo, you can find it in vivo or they are endogenous. However, si restositin is quite different. This is a type of antibiotic. Okay, so meaning it's an exogenous type ng aggregator. Okay, hindi siya naturally present in your body. Okay, if you initiate aggregation using restositin, normal ang kalalabasan. However, abnormal kapag using ADP, collagen, thrombin, epinephrine. Okay? So, how do we treat Glanzmann thrombasthenia? Okay, you can treat Glanzmann thrombasthenia po using platelet transfusion of leukocyte-reduced apheresis platelets or HLA matched donor platelets. Bakit specific? Bakit hindi na lang platelet concentrate? Okay? So, itong mga patients kasi na may Glanzmann thrombasthenia, okay, since this is a permanent disease, okay, so nangangailangan sila ng frequent transfusion ng blood component. For example, nga yung platelet concentrate natin. If you have frequent transfusion ng platelets ninyo ng blood component, kalaunan nun, you will develop alloimmunization. Okay? So, magkaka-develop ka ng antibodies to a specific protein or component ng blood from different persons. Okay, that's short. Yes. Yan. So, that's why it is advisable na ang itatransfuse sa patient natin as leukocyte-reduced, okay, or HLA matched donor platelets para hindi ma-trigger yung alloimmunization. Okay, hindi ka makadevelop ng antibodies kasi yung tinatransfuse sa'yo is specifically matched in all aspects to your blood, or it is leukocyte reduced, which leukocyte reduced kasi it contains all a lot of the proteins or HLA that you can find na pwedeng mag-trigger sa immune system. Okay, so if it is leukocyte reduced, lesser yung risk. If it is HLA matched donor, then so much better. Okay, so i-discuss nyo to sa blood banking. Hindi lang kasi enough na blood type compatible lang. We have different yan nga yung HLA or antigens pa na pwedeng mag-cause ng immunization, alloimmunization. Ayun. Okay? Ayan. So, also patients with this disorder, they should avoid anticoagulants and anti-platelet agents. Okay, kasi nga prone na sila sa bleeding because they lack the aggregation receptor, which is the 2B3A. Okay? Okay. Next disease we have is the disorders of platelet adhesion. Okay? So, sa adhesion, Okay, we know the responsible for that is the glycoprotein 1B. However, ang hindi pa natin na mention from the previous discussion is aside from glycoprotein 1B, we also have glycoprotein 9 and glycoprotein 5, which also plays a role in the adhesion process. Okay? It's mainly 1B, but we also need 9 and 5 para sa adhesion. Okay? Yan. So, we have here the Bernard-Soulier or the giant platelet syndrome. Okay? So, in 1948, Bernard-Soulier described 2 children from a consanguineous family who had a severe bleeding disorder characterized by mucocutaneous hemorrhage. In 1975, si Norden and Kanden, they identified the specific abnormality, which is the in the platelet 1B. Okay? Yan. So, if you can see, yung mga ating platelet diseases, okay, they are first described in the 1940s, 1930s, okay? Tsaka lang natin specifically na identify yung anong problem around this time, 1960s, 1970s. Kasi yun yung time na umusbong na yung mga platelet function tests, yung mga laboratory evaluations natin, tsaka lang lumabas by this time. Kaya tsaka lang na-determine or na-pinpoint ano ba talaga yung problema. Okay? Yan. So, Bernard-Soulier, okay, is an autosomal recessive disorder in which the glycoprotein 1B95 complex is missing from the platelet surface or exhibits abnormal function. Okay? So, yan. So, as we know, glycoprotein, adhesion yan. So, your platelets, okay, isn't capable of adhesion. Okay? So, it resembles the effects of von Willebrand disease. Okay? So, von Willebrand factor, di ba? If you remember, this acts as your bridge. Diba? If you have you have collagen here, you will have collagen receptor. Meron kang von Willebrand factor. You have your platelet, you have your GP1B. Let's see here. Ayan. Your von Willebrand acts as a bridge. If you don't have von Willebrand, you will also have a problem with platelet adhesion. Okay, so that's why your Bernard-Soulier resembles the effects of von Willebrand disease. When you say you have a von Willebrand disease, wala kang von Willebrand factor. Okay? So, however, it is not corrected by the addition of normal plasma or cryoprecipitate. If you add normal plasma or cryoprecipitate, this too contains von Willebrand factor. Okay. So, von Willebrand factor disease will be corrected if you add cryo or normal plasma. Pero if you have Bernard-Soulier, since ang specific problem is a receptor, hindi naman yung bridge, okay, it will not be corrected. So, that's how you can differentiate von Willebrand disease sa Bernard-Soulier syndrome. Okay? Another, homozygotes have enlarged platelets. You can see enlarged platelets, thrombocytopenia, and usually decreased platelet survival, which lead to a moderate severe bleeding. Okay, bakit ba tayo nagkakaroon ng enlarged platelets? Okay, bakit malalaki ang platelets ng patients with with Bernard-Soulier syndrome? Okay, so we can pwede nating isisi yan, okay, because they have an irregular demarcation membrane system. Okay, if you remember, what's the demarcation membrane system? So, di ba, in the megakaryocyte, okay, so before siya mahati-hati into platelets, you have already an outline, okay, which we term as the demarcation membrane system. Okay, so patients with Bernard-Soulier, they have an irregular demarcation membrane system. So, merong normal, merong medyo malalaki yung outline, yan. So, that's why patients with Bernard-Soulier can have platelets, okay, as big as 20 micrometers in diameter. Okay, normal natin is if I'm not mistaken, 4 to 6 o 5 to 7. Okay? Pero yung patients with Bernard-Soulier can have up to 20 micrometers in diameter. So, ganun kalaki. Okay? Giant talaga siya. Okay? Ayan. Yan. So, we have thrombocytopenia kasi we have decreased platelet survival. Okay? Ayan. So, which leads to a moderate to severe bleeding disorder. Okay? So, what can we expect on patients na merong Bernard-Soulier? Okay? Ito yung sabi ko kanina. So, that's why you have to remember kung sino yung abnormal sa resuscitin, sino yung normal. Kasi kabaliktaran kay Bernard-Soulier. Si Bernard-Soulier, normal siya in response to ADP, collagen, thrombin, epinephrine, or arachidonic acid. Abnormal siya in the presence of restositin. Okay? Okay, so magkabaliktad sila. Okay? So since, isipin nyo na lang, since si Bernard-Soulier is sa adhesion ng problem, okay, so normal tayo kay main aggregating agent natin, which is ADP. Okay? And then, ayan, siya naman yung may mga kasamang madami. Nag-iisa lang palagi si restositin. So, abnormal siya kay restositin. Ayan. So, treatment natin for Bernard-Soulier is similar lang din kay Glanzmann. Okay? So, avoid antiplatelet therapy. Okay? So, antifibrinolytic therapy may also be useful to treat mucosal bleeding. Okay? And platelet transfusion also of leukocyte reduced apheresis or HLA matched donor platelets. Okay? Para ma-prevent yung allo immunization. Okay? Okay. Next one. Okay. Next is disorders of platelet secretion. Okay. So we're done with aggregation or adhesion, and we have platelet secretion. Okay. 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 So, disorders of platelet secretion or the storage pool diseases, these are the most common of the hereditary platelet function defects. Okay? So, it features mucocutaneous hemorrhage and hematuria, epistaxis, and ECN spontaneous bruising. Okay? So, almost all of them, they have abnormal platelet aggregation, but the platelet count is normal. Okay. So, to the first one we have the dense granule deficiency. If you remember, we have two. We have alpha granules and dense granules that you can find inside your platelets. Okay? So, you can have a dense granule deficiency. Ano bang nasa dense granules? These are the storage site for serotonin, serotonin nucleotides, example natin ADP. Okay? So, which is our aggregating agent. Kaya kapag meron kang dense granules, expect you have an abnormal platelet aggregation. Okay? So, your dense granule deficiency can be subdivided into deficiency states associated with albinism and non-albinos. Okay? So, first we have here the Hermansky-Pudlak syndrome. Okay, so this is associated with albinism. It is an autosomal recessive disorder characterized by tyrosinase positive oculocutaneous albinism. Okay, defective lysosomal function. Steroid-like deposition in the cells of reticuloendothelial system, and a profound platelet dense granule deficiency. Okay. So, mutation can be found in the chromosome that's 19. Chromosome 19. Okay. Okay. Next, we have Chidiac-Higashi syndrome. Chidiac-Higashi mutation naman can be found on chromosome 1. Okay. You can see partial oculocutaneous albinism with frequent pyogenic bacterial infections. Okay, pyogenic bacterial infections, naulit na. Giant lysosomal granules. Okay. So, patients show frequent infection because of impaired phagocytic ability ng inyong mga leukocytes. Okay, and that usually occurs in childhood. Okay. So, 85% of patients progress to thrombocytopenia and enlargement of liver. Okay. Okay. The next one, we have Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome. Wiskott-Aldrich is an X-linked recessive disorder. Okay. So, what happens is this patient has a deficiency ng WAS protein. Okay, the WAS protein play a crucial role in the actin cytoskeleton remodeling. Okay, so di ba, actomyosin responsible sa shape ng platelet. Okay, so patients with Wiskott-Aldrich, they have problem with actin cytoskeleton remodeling of hindi lang ng platelets but other cells as well. Okay, so may problem yung mga shapes ng cells nila. Okay, so the common manifestation of Wiskott-Aldrich syndrome, we call it as the eczema thrombocytopenia immunodeficiency syndrome. Okay, so this patient show a triad of severe eczema, recurrent infections, and bleeding. Okay, they are also prone to infection. So that from infection, hemorrhage or malignancy is common before adulthood. So bakit nagkakaroon ng infection? Okay, so since actin cytoskeleton nga yung problem, okay, so aside from platelets, ang isa pang pinaka-affected dyan is your T cells, okay, which is in need natin sa ating immune response, di ba? Okay, ayan, so kaya sila prone to infections. Okay, characterized by decreased dense granules, okay, and also small platelets. Okay, aside from that, add natin thrombocytopenia. Has thrombocytopenia as well. Bakit siya may thrombocytopenia? Okay, we can say that's because of ineffective thrombocytopoiesis. So, ineffective na yung production and also increased yung platelet sequestration, okay, or destruction. Okay, bakit may increased destruction? That's because your platelet is abnormal in shape. Okay, so di ba in your macrophages, if they detected na abnormal yung shape, so they can parang ililabel nila to as ito ay hindi functional. Okay, so ang gagawin nila, i-digest na nila yan, okay, kapag nakarating sa sa spleen. Is it spleen? Yes, in your spleen. Okay, ayan, so kaya siya merong thrombocytopenia. Okay. Next, we have thrombocytopenia with absent Radice syndrome. So, this is an autosomal recessive disorder. Ang pinaka characteristic nito is yung absence ng radial bones. Wala siyang radial bone. Okay? So, also associated with numerous cardiac and skeletal abnormalities. Okay? And we also have thrombocytopenia. Okay? Okay, yan. So, next is for alpha granule deficiency or the gray platelet syndrome. Okay, alpha granules are the storage sites of your proteins. Okay, so there are roughly 50 to 80 alpha granules per platelet which are primarily responsible for the granular appearance kapag in-stain natin siya using our right stain. Okay, that's why it's also called the gray platelet syndrome kasi nga wala siyang alpha granules which is again responsible for the granular appearance. Kung wala kang alpha granules, kapag in-stain natin siya using our right stain, nagmumukha lang siyang gray. Okay? So, this is an autosomal recessive disorder characterized by absence of morphologically recognizable alpha granules in platelets. Okay? So, patients with this, okay, you can see lifelong mild bleeding tendencies, moderate thrombocytopenia, fibrosis of the marrow, and large platelets can also be seen. We can also see increased platelet factor 4 and beta thromboglobulin in circulation or in the serum. Okay? So, increase to, tsaka ito, okay, because supposedly these two should have been inside the alpha granules. Okay, dapat nasa loob yan ng alpha granules. Okay? But, since wala nga alpha granules, yung inyong platelets, okay, so this two is in the cytoplasm of your megakaryocytes, and once yung inyong megakaryocytes ay naputol-putol na or nahati na, okay, instead na it is stored inside the alpha granules, ang nangyayari, nare-release siya into the circulation. Okay, so you will have increased platelet factor 4 and beta thromboglobulin. Okay, next. Okay. Other storage pool diseases, you could also have a combination ng alpha-dense storage pool deficiency. Okay, so if you have this, so everything na nakita nyo kay dense granules or yung manifestation ni dense granules tsaka ni alpha granules, so this patient has it both. Okay, we also have what we call the Quebec platelet disorder. So when we say Quebec platelet disorder, so this patient has a deficiency of multimarine. Okay, so this causes degradation of alpha granule proteins such as factor 5. Okay, if you don't have multimarine, okay, you'll have degradation of alpha granule proteins such as your factor 5. Ayan. Next. Okay. Next, we have the thromboxane pathway disorders or the aspirin-like effects. Okay, aspirin-like. So, we already discussed yung aspirin, diba? Kung ano yung nagagawa niya sa ating sa platelets. Pero, just to review, okay, so this is our prostaglandin pathway. As we call it, prostaglandin pathway. Okay, so this is what happens. Your platelet membrane will secrete arachidonic acid. So, arachidonic acid in the presence of cyclooxygenase will turn it into prostaglandin 2, G2, and prostaglandin GH2. In the presence of thromboxane A2 synthase, it will turn into thromboxane A2. The thromboxane A2 responsible for vasoconstriction and aggregation. Okay, so it initiates vasoconstriction and aggregation. Okay, so basically it is a pro-platelet component. Okay, pro-platelet function. Okay, so si aspirin, okay, your aspirin, okay, it acts by inhibiting this enzyme. Okay, so if wala ka nito, your arachidonic acid will not turn into thromboxane A2. Okay? So, what do we mean by aspirin-like effects? So, if you have a deficiency in the following, kunyari, naturally, you don't have cyclooxygenase, you don't have thromboxane A2 synthase, so you won't have the end product. Okay, so even though hindi ka nag-take ng aspirin, it's possible na naturally, because of sa genetic mutation, wala kang cyclooxygenase, wala ka nito, you won't also have thromboxane A2. Okay, so same effect with as how your aspirin works. Okay. Okay. So, again, this is a hereditary absence or abnormality of the components of the thromboxane pathway, okay, a structural and functional modification of arachidonic acid pathway enzymes. Okay. So, it could be because you have a deficiency of cyclooxygenase or thromboxane synthase, as I have mentioned, or meron kang dysfunction ng receptors, thromboxane receptors. Okay, maybe you produce enough thromboxane A2, kaya lang hindi nagre-respond yung platelets mo to thromboxane A2. Okay, so same effect pa rin as the aspirin. Okay, or again, if you don't have cyclooxygenase or thromboxane synthase, yan. So, same effects katulad na aspirin. Okay. So, other inherited disorders of receptors and signaling pathways, we have what we call, we have collagen receptors first. Okay? So, collagen, okay? So, as you know, drawing natin kanina, si collagen, siya yung kinakapitan ng inyong platelets. Okay? So, if you don't have collagen receptors, okay, as here, A2B1, or glycoprotein 1A, 2A, that's 2. Glycoprotein 1A, 2A, integrin, or the glycoprotein 6. Okay, so, hindi makakakarpet yung platelet mo sa collagen. So, this impairs your adhesion. Okay? Adenosine diphosphate receptors. Okay, so we have 3 receptors. We have 3 receptors for ADP. ADP, again, we know it's for aggregation. Okay, so we have P2X1. Okay, so this is linked to an ion channel that facilitates calcium ion influx. Okay, or the utilization of calcium. P2Y1 mediates calcium mobilization naman and yung shape change in response to ADP. And P2Y12 naman responsible for macroscopic aggregation. So, if wala ka nitong mga to, mai-impair itong mga function na na-mention natin. Okay? Other receptors natin, we have also what we call A2 adrenergic or epinephrine receptor. If you don't have this, you will have decreased platelet activation and aggregation in response to epinephrine. You can also have a deficiency ng PAR receptor. PAR receptor, as we have keep on mentioning it, it can be found or involved sa, it could be adhesion, pwedeng secretion, pwedeng aggregation. We have different PARs. PAR receptor, PAR 1, PAR 2, PAR 4. So, iba't iba sila ng function. So, kapag meron ka or deficiency, kahit alin man doon, so may impair din yung function nila. Okay, or ng ating platelet. Okay? So, calcium mobilization defects. Okay? So, this is in case na, yes, you have calcium, pero hindi naman siya namomobilize ng ayos. For example, within the reaction chamber or within the area na kailangan yung reaction, kung saan kailangan mag-form yung clot, hindi nakakarating ng ayos si calcium. Okay? Or, maybe you have calcium from your granules, kaso hindi siya nare-release na ayos, nasisikret na ayos. Okay? It can be a cause for disorder. Okay? Next, we have Scott's syndrome. Okay? So, when we say Scott's syndrome, this is a rare autosomal recessive disorder of calcium-induced membrane phospholipid scrambling and thrombin generation. Okay? So, characterized by deficiency of the scramblase enzyme. okay, which is responsible for what we call the phospholipid flip. Okay, phospholipid flip. Okay, what is the phospholipid flip? Okay, so in resting platelets kasi, or in platelets na hindi pa activated, okay, you have phosphatidylserine and phosphatidylethanolamine, okay, inside or in the inner leaflet. Okay, so example, this is the for example, this is the platelet. Okay, in the inner leaflet or inside, you can find phosphatidylserine, and the second one is phosphatidylethanolamine. Let me write it down. One is phosphatidylserine. Ethanol-amine. Sorry sa sulat, basta yun. Okay, phosphatidylserine and phosphatidylethanolamine, okay, they can be found in the inner leaflet, okay, of the plasma membrane. Okay, inner, so ibig sabihin nakapaloob siya. Okay, and yung ating phosphatidylcholine, we have the third one, phosphatidylcholine. Okay, so this phosphatidylcholine is expressed on the outer leaflet. Okay, so nasa palabas siya. Sabihin, it's exposed outside. Yung dalawa is not exposed outside, nasa loob lang siya of the inner side ng ating plasma platelet membrane. Okay, so in resting stage, hindi pa siya activated. Ganito yung natural na positioning nila. Okay, once your platelet is activated, okay, so once it's activated, magkakaroon ng flip. Okay, ang mangyayari, lalabas yung dalawa, tatlo na silang nasa labas. Okay, ayan. Anong purpose ng ganito? Bakit siya nangyayari? Okay, so since these are phospholipids, saan ba natin kailangan ng phospholipid? So, di ba kailangan natin ng phospholipid, okay, to make our complexes, coagulation complexes, extrinsic tennis complex, intrinsic tennis complex, prothrombinase complex, lahat yan kailangan ng phospholipid. Yung phospholipid, it acts as parang a receptor, dun kumakapit yung inyong complex, okay, to initiate its reaction. Okay, yun yung pinagkakapitan nila. Okay, yan. So, ang responsible here, once your platelets are activated, ang responsible para sa flip na yan is the scramblase enzyme. So, if you have Scott syndrome, you don't have scramblase enzyme, hindi mangyayari yung ating flip. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, instead na meron kang tatlong phospholipid sources para pagkapitan ng iyong coagulation complexes, you only have one. Okay? Ayan. So, okay, maaapektuhan yung ating coagulation, okay? Kasi walang pagkakapitan or walang binding site yung ating mga factor complexes. Okay? Particularly, yung ating mga vitamin K dependent clotting factors. Okay? Ayan. Yan. So, in the end, okay, so since nahihirapan nga or walang binding site ng inyong complexes, okay, hindi siya mabubuo. Kung wala kang phospholipid, hindi mabubuo ang inyong extrinsic tenase complex, hindi mabubuo ang intrinsic tenase complex. So, in the end, hindi ma-activate si common pathway. Pag hindi na-activate si common pathway, you wouldn't have your fibrin, okay, which is how you would stable your platelet plug. Yeah, in the end, if you have Scott syndrome, you will have a unstable platelet plug. Okay? Yeah, so unstable platelet plug. Next, we have Storm-Marken syndrome. When you have Storm-Marken syndrome, associated siya with mild bleeding tendencies due to platelet dysfunction, thrombocytopenia. asplenia, and other constitutive disorders. Okay, you can also say in here, when you have Storm-Morgan syndrome, your platelets are always in an activated state. And express phosphatidylserine on the outer leaflet. Okay. Okay. Next, we have acquired defects of platelet function. Okay? So, in here, commonly, kaya nga siya acquired. Okay? Ang common cause nito is because of drugs. Okay? Drugs, pagtitake ng drugs, drug ingestion. Okay? It can be classified into two. Okay? Drugs that inhibit the prostaglandin pathway. Okay? So, in there, you can have acetylsalicylic acid, or what we call the aspirin, the ibuprofen, ketoprofen, phenoprofen, naproxen, ayan. Okay, and also drugs that inhibit membrane function. Okay? Ayan. So, okay. So, di ba, we have mentioned na kanina, na-discuss natin yung function ni aspirin. Okay? So, sa quiz natin last time, di ba may question tayo doon, anong enzyme yung ini-inhibit ni aspirin? Okay? So, I've told you then na it could be either thromboxane synthase ang answer or the cyclooxygenase. Okay? Now, let's clear that up. Next time that will be answered, okay, or questioned or asked, ang sagot natin po talaga is cyclooxygenase. Okay, sa cyclooxygenase talaga ang answer, ha? Okay, that's the best answer. Okay, so your acetylsalicylic acid, aspirin, okay, inhibits cyclooxygenase irreversibly. Okay, irreversibly. Excuse me. Ayan. So, as little as 200 mg dose ng aspirin ninyo, it inhibits about 90% ng cyclooxygenase. Okay? So, once that happens, once na inactivate na siya, yung inyong cyclooxygenase, okay, it's irreversible na. Okay? For the time period na buhay yung platelet na yon, which is around 10 days, di ba? Okay? So, basically, yung platelet na yon, okay, it's incapable na of functioning normally hanggang sa the rest of its life, okay, which is around 10 days. Okay? That's why yung aspirin mo, it's a potent antiplatelet inhibitor kasi ganun kalakas yung function niya. Okay? And hindi na it's irreversible na. Okay? So, bakit irreversible? That's because your platelets lack a nucleus. Wala silang nucleus, they are incapable of synthesizing new enzymes. Okay, that's why kung ano yung bit-bit nilang cyclooxygenase, from the start, nung umalis sila sa bone marrow, yun na yung bit-bit nila up to the end. Okay, so if na-inactivate na si cyclooxygenase na yun, so wala na silang backup, okay, so hindi na mare-reverse pa yung nangyari. Okay? Ayan. So, your cyclooxygenase, it inhibits in this part. So, aspirin irreversibly acetylates your cyclooxygenase. Okay? So, your arachidonic acid, it would not turn into thromboxane A2. Okay? However, okay, if you remember sa ating pathway, hindi lang naman thromboxane A2 ang nagagawa natin, di ba? It can also turn into prostacycline. Okay, kung ito ay palitan mo, instead of thromboxane synthase, palitan mo ng prostacycline synthase, thromboxane A2 or prostacycline ang pwede mong maging product, which has different effects. So, ito, thromboxane A2, we can say that this is a pro-aggregatory pro-aggregation. Okay, ito naman is anti-aggregation. Diba? Kasi ito vasodilation, ito vasoconstriction. Right? Ay, sorry. Hindi nyo pala nakikita yung cursor. So, ito vasodilation, ito vasoconstriction. Okay? Yan. So, how come the platelet is an anti-aggregatory or anti-platelet if it inhibits both pro and anti-effects ng arachidonic acid? Okay? Because of acetylating the cyclooxygenase. So, how come it is an anti-platelet? Okay? Even though parehas naman niyang nai-inhibit. Okay? That's why, that's because of another thing. If you remember, your endothelial cell, okay, it's capable of making nitric oxide. Si nitric oxide, if you remember, anong function ni nitric oxide? It induces vasodilation. Okay? So, or we can say it is an anti-aggregatory product. Okay? Anti-aggregation. Okay? Ayan. So, 2:1 tayo. Okay? Dalawa na yung anti natin, isa lang yung pro. Nitric oxide is not affected by your aspirin. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, even though may aspirin ka, okay, so, nagpa-function pa rin si nitric oxide. Kaya, mas nananaig na anti-aggregatory yung effect ni aspirin. Okay, so even though kasi na-inhibit mo si thromboxane A2, pag na-inhibit mo si thromboxane A2, ano nangyayari, di ba? Parang it turns into anti. Kasi nga, in-inhibit mo siya. Ito, it turns into pro. Okay, kasi in-inhibit mo yung anti. Okay, ito is also an anti. Iyan. So, mas nananalo na hindi mag-react yung platelets or hindi mag-aggregate because of the presence of nitric oxide. Okay? So, I hope that's clear. Okay? Ayan. So, that's the effect of aspirin. How about How about ibuprofen, ketoprofen, itong mga to, kung ito ay irreversible, ito ay reversible. Okay? Yan. So, itong effect ng mga to, once yung concentration niya sa blood is bumaba na, nakaka-recover si platelets. Unlike kay aspirin na hindi na makaka-recover yung platelets nyo. Okay, so this is reversible, this is irreversible. Okay, next is drugs that inhibit the membrane function. We have 3. Okay, kanina we have mentioned P2Y12, which is an ADP receptor. Okay, we need that for, again, aggregation. Yan. So, if we have receptor inhibitors for P2Y12, it will inhibit aggregation. Okay, anong kasama niyan? We have the clopidogrel, prasugrel, basta itong mga to. Yan. Okay? So, GP2B3A, we'll know, it's also for aggregation. We have apiximab, basta yon, hindi ko mabasa. Eptifibatide. Yan. Be familiar na lang, pero I won't be asking that. That's too much na. Okay, just be familiar na itong mga to, it binds the GP2B3A. Okay? So, it also inhibits your aggregation as well. Okay? PAR1 antagonist. PAR1 is also responsible, or it is also needed po sa inyong aggregation. Okay? It's also involved in the aggregation. Okay? Ayan. So, if you have PAR1 antagonist, it will inhibit thrombin-induced platelet aggregation. Okay, so, ayan. Lahat sila Ayan. So, lahat nga pala sila, they act on aggregation. No. Okay. Ayan. So, I will be cutting this discussion short. Okay. Actually, hindi pa ito tapos. We'll still have disorders that affect platelet function. Okay. We have included there the myeloproliferative neoplasms and so on and so forth. You can read that po. Okay. That's my assignment to you. You can read that. But I will also be including that in the handouts that I will give you. Okay. Pero hindi na natin sasama sa discussion. I'll just make the handouts precise na lang as much as possible. Okay, pero you can read that. Maikli lang yan. 1 page lang yan sa products. Okay. Yeah. 1 page. Okay. So, that's it. Okay, I hope you've learned something. So, if you have questions for clarifications, feel free to message me. Okay, and ayun. So, thank you and have a great day.